Okay, someone just sent me Brian Murphy's latest video where he's going off on Kathy Hochul and Mamdani and immigrants and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it makes me sad, but it doesn't surprise me, because when people come out of cults, if you don't give them space, their options are to go back in, to join another cult, to unalive, or give them the space to learn. My conversations with him were extremely different. I taught him that undocumented people didn't have, or that they have tax numbers to pay taxes. He did not know that. I explained to him that they don't vote, and I know because I'm close to many of them. He said, "Oh my gosh, Fox News just made that up." Yeah. I explained to him where the concept of illegal immigrants even came from. When we used to bring them in here to help with the crops, and we only allotted for so many, but then we needed more. But because Congress didn't allow for that many, we called them illegal. And that's where that name came from. He'd heard some story about Kathy Hochul throwing a bunch of veterans out to let a bunch of veterans stay in a hotel, and they had all these shopping carts full of food, which I'm sure he got from Fox News, because that happened quite a while ago. Yesterday I sent him an article debunking that, but clearly he hasn't read that. But I also was able, saying like, you liked it when it was in the 50s, and that is because of the way the taxes worked. And he said, well, explain that to me. And so I explained to him how the millionaires were taxed at a high rate, but they could keep a certain amount. And then everybody else could be, you could work at a grocery store, and you could have 4 kids, and you could have a house, and you could have a vacation, and you could go to school, and you could have health care. And I said, and then Reagan came in and changed that to trickle-down economics. He goes, oh my gosh, so this started with Reagan. So then he was railing on that. And then we talked about abortion, which what he said to me was like, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to stop anyone from doing it. That's their business. Same with any other kind of right. But I said, well, they didn't used to care about abortion. They just started using that to get Republicans to vote so that the wealthy could keep their taxes, and so the churches wouldn't get taxed. So then they started making this a big issue to vote on, versus having it be between the person and God, and the person and their pastor, minister, whatever. And so he's like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. He's like, but I never knew this. Like, we never were taught this. I never saw this from Fox News. All my family believes this way. Like, I have never heard any of this. And I said, I know. And he goes, what about healthcare? And like, that would be so expensive if we did Medicare for all. And I said, well, I don't know how open you are to Bernie, but I can't exactly give you the numbers, but if you go to his page, you would see like the outline of that and how it actually is less expensive and everybody gets covered. And, I shared a little bit about Bernie, my thoughts on him, and he said, I didn't really want to vote for Trump, but I really would have liked to have voted for Bernie. In fact, I'd love to talk to Bernie. Maybe Bernie could help us get this going. That's who I was talking to, and he was 100% genuine, and he was absorbing things like a sponge. But when you're new to this and you're fresh out of that, and he was taking everything he was learning from me, and he was going back to his MAGA friends and family and trying to teach them what I was saying, and then he was getting attacked from them. Then they were watching him trying to interact with us, and then the pushback he was getting, and they were saying, they don't want to join you, they just want you to be one of them. They want you to bend the knee. So I think he was trying to be in between these two worlds. And while he was getting support over here, he was getting so much backlash, and there were so many videos being made everywhere. And to me, he was just saying, like, we just have to, like, become friends so we can trust each other, because we really do have to take on, Trump and Israel and the elite. And this is going to be very dangerous, and I'm worried that people aren't going to be safe because they have other concerns, but like, we really have to join and do this. And like, he really was authentic. I 100% believe that. But when you're new to social media, when you're kind of an introvert and you're outlived that kind of life, kind of the wood cabin life, and you've only been raised on Fox News, and your whole family is that, and then you try and reach out Olive Branch imperfectly, and he wore the shirts he wore so that when MAGA saw him, it didn't look like he had converted to the left. Like, there was a strategy to that. And he left up his videos for the same reason, because if there was nothing there, it looks like someone from the left pretended to be MAGA and they said, oh, I'm out. Because no one trusts each other anymore. And he told me, he said, I want to leave those up for accountability. Like, I should have to own those words, right? And that's why he did that big apology. But his directive was not to be a political party. It was us band together and go and stop them. Like, I had a lady, a Mexican lady yesterday that was crying, saying, like, look, we just have to band together because our kids are getting taken. Like, people are being kidnapped. People born here are being kidnapped, and everyone's arguing. But this is happening to us right now. And so I understood where he was coming from. I also understand people, would see his shirt, see whatever. But to me, because I reached out, got to know him, I've also hired people out of the prison system, not knowing much more than I was willing to work with them and learn with them. I know when you do really hard things together and you just take a leap of faith, that lots of times you learn to work together and you learn each other that you can't do through here. You have to do it through real life experiences. So that's where I was coming from. I know that's where he was coming from, and I think he felt very unheard. Do I like what he's saying right now? No. I sent him a message. I said, what are you doing? You're like retracting everything that you told me and that you've learned. And I just think he feels very hurt. He got death threats. His wife got death threats. There's all kinds of slander and stuff. Someone in my comments was saying I'm part of a psychological psyop government test. I can't believe the stuff that was written on here. This is literally someone stepped forward, and I know how many people are leaving. They're going to be in a no man's land, and this is what you're going to deal with. So either you're going to keep attacking them and go, well, gosh, took you long enough. Oh, really? You thought that? Well, God, you're stupid. This is what you're going to get. And so in some ways, I had a lot of people message me last night, call me trying to think about what we've learned from this. And we've learned that if you attack, they're probably going to go back. But it felt like to me like, oh, we got him triggered. See, we knew, I knew the vibe. But see, the thing is, you don't just do it to him. You do it to people on here all the time. Like once a month, twice a month, there's someone that this place targets. And then they just love to tear him down. So part of me is like, I don't even know that this could start, because someone's going to find something wrong with the person that's doing it. I had a lot of Black and brown people telling me to keep going, that they wanted to be a part of this, they wanted to be spokespeople, and then I had a lot saying we won't have anything to do with this. So it's very confusing. Like, as a white person, I feel like it's my job to stick my neck out there. What I know and what Brian and I promised to each other is we would stand out in front. And if we went down, if it came to that, then we would do that for anyone behind us. And I 100% believe him. So I hope that there's a lesson. Like, I know there's going to be too much pride or people that can't hear and go, no, he was always. You don't know that. That's what you say to make yourself feel better. That's what a lot of you say so that you don't have to extend an olive branch, or that you don't have to listen. You don't have to be kind. You can sit in your rage. And I've gone through that rage phase, and it helped me nowhere. It gave my mom anxiety. It made my son start to feel like he was going to off himself, because I made the world so dark with my constant rage and fear-mongering and just raging on these people, and I was making my body sick. And then I realized that was going to do no good for the children of the world. It did not protect the minorities. It made everything worse. And then I had to let that go and start doing the real work, the good work that can prepare us to go out and do the things we need to do to be the people that we say that we are.